just know that you don't have to have a glass of wine or appointment, ladies, to raise those vibrations. Hey everyone, welcome back to Get Candid Podcast. I'm your host, Raven Joseph. And on today's episode, we're going to talk about raising your vibration. The reason why I chose this topic is because I'm a personal development coach. I support women in sustaining healthier lifestyles. And my approach to that is building relationships with yourself and using tools that help to build self esteem and self confidence. And raising our vibration goes hand in hand because the goal, right, is to feel good so that when we feel good, we're more likely to do the work that we need to do in order to get out of the rut or being stuck or in that cycle that keeps us from living the life, or those situations that keep us from living the life that we wanted to live. So when we talk about vibrations or vibes, we're usually talking about chill, being pleasing, cool, relaxed, or things like that. But when I'm talking about vibes today, I'm talking about vibration, your emotional well-being. For instance, when I walk into the classroom or I'm engaging with a student, I can tell their vibe. I can tell their emotional well being by the way they're communicating to me, by the way they're interacting with others, by the way they're treating themselves. So, I'm going to share with you some of my top tools that I use to raise my vibration. One, first and foremost, is gratitude. I would say, we're thankful for things like I was talking to a student today and she referred to, how do we get on this? Oh, we're talking about godparents. I have random conversations with my students. This is building relationships. I love building relationships. So we were talking about today how about godparents, and I was talking about my relationship with my god kids, and like one of our students got pregnant and she left, and I asked her if she was a godmom because they were really close, and she was like, I wanted to be, but I can't afford to raise a child. So we got into this conversation about what a godparent's responsibility is. And she was talking about how she doesn't go to church, but what after her grandmother passed away, she stopped going. But like at Thanksgiving, she prays with her family and we talk about what we're grateful for, which most of us do, right? We wait till Thanksgiving to talk about what we're grateful for. But for me, my experience, I did a 30-day challenge last fall in November, and I challenged myself to write down every day for at least 5 minutes. So some days it was 15 minutes, depending on how much time I had. What I was grateful for, I would just write. Even if I repeated it, I would just write. And I want to tell you, it wasn't even like it didn't even take 30 days for my mood, my vibrational energy to increase, to get better. And it's just like looking at the little things in your life and being grateful for those things, I feel like invites better things, into our lives. And I've learned, like, when we take care of what we have, when we're grateful for what we have, we invite the better things. We're blessed. We become blessed because God is like, oh, you care about this. That's how I see it. I'm going to give you more, right? You generally have to be grateful for the things that you have. Because if you don't take care of what you have, if you're not grateful for what you have, if you're blessed with the next thing, you're going to be in the same state of being. So looking at vibes and how our energy, like even the frequency of our energy, sometimes we vibrate slower or faster. And depending on that frequency, we can tell what we're feeling. So science shows that when we're at a lower energy, I think it's below 62 megahertz. When we vibe at that level, we're usually sick. So when we vibe at a higher level, our mood begins to increase. And the way you can do a vibe check is just checking in with yourself, is seeing how you're feeling. So the way I do that, last month, I started getting acupuncture, and I go every couple of weeks. And when I was talking to the doctor there, he does a lot of meditation, and he was just saying, like, telling me the different authors that he reads about and things like that. He's very spiritual. And we were talking about the way he checks in with himself, his emotional well-being. Like, you never want to be at the basement, right? He talks about a house and how the house or the apartment building has different levels. And like when you're at the basement, that's where there's sickness and disease and things like that. And so you want to rise above that and be in this place where you're at peace. Be in a place where when you know your vibe is good by the way you react to things. You know your vibe is good. You're at a higher level. You can name your levels, right? I challenge you to do that. Imagine a building having different floors. Each floor is a better feeling. Each floor is a higher vibration, right? You want that enlightenment feeling, right? But to get there, you have to get past these different floors. So, like, checking in with yourself can also be how you respond to something that happens. Even if it's not your fault, even if you're justified in having a response that's like met with from you is like met with an attitude, that means you're vibrating at a lower level. Because even if a person deserves to be cursed out, even if a person deserves to be like put in their place, it's the way you do it. So if you do it from a place of frustration, if you do it from a place of anger, then you're vibing on a lower level. So you want to be in a space where when things happen, you don't, I wouldn't say necessarily chuckle, but you don't take it personally. You want to make sure that when things happen, you're able to think it through and not react with without thinking, or like react without, what word am I looking for? Like have a reaction, right? Reaction versus response. You want to be able to respond to whatever situation you're in rather than reacting hastily. So that, speaking about the different levels of the apartment building, another thing I want to talk about with raising vibration is meditation. Y'all know I love to meditate. I started meditating in 2014. Prior to that, I heard prayer meditation, didn't know what it meant. And I went to the spiritual retreat by myself up in the Catskills, and it was life changing for me because when I learned how to meditate and when I made sure that I was doing it every day, those reactions became responses. Things weren't getting to me. Things that would usually piss me off, they were rolling off my sleeve. Like I realized I kind of miss that place. I used to go there. I went there 14 times between 2014 and 2019. I used to go there a couple of times a year. It was really helpful with my practice studying Raja Yoga. I do miss it. And I kind of fell off for a little bit with doing it consistently. And I could see it in the way I was reacting. I could tell, girl, you need to sit down, you need to meditate, you need to put God first, kind of thing. And so like when I start to do that, I've I think I've gone from just connecting with God and feeling more calm to now noticing other things in my meditation. And I'll talk about like the expansion of my meditative experience on another episode, but like the way meditating has helped me, I can't give it up. It's like prayer meditation is like hand in hand for me with raising my vibration. I do it every morning, and it doesn't even take a long time. I can meditate anywhere at any time. And that's what Raja Yoga has taught me. Like, they had this thing where while on the retreat, every hour between a certain hour, I don't know if it was by 6 o'clock was the last, but every time it was on the hour, we would stop and then we would pause in a meditative state for an entire minute. And it just reminded us that we can be in a meditative state at any time. So it helps you to practice. They also encourage us to do silent lunches. My students love to be in my classroom during lunch, and I feel so bad kicking them out. I feel really, really bad. I know it's my time. So when I really need to like take time to myself like I did last week. What happened last week? And I was just, oh, my stomach was hurting. I was cramping. I didn't want to be around anybody. So I told them I need my lunch. And, sometimes doing silent lunches and meditating really helps to raise your vibration because by the next period I was fine. So that's the two major ones for me is gratitude and definitely meditation. What I am learning currently is about eating foods and how looking at what we eat can raise our vibration. So greens and vegetables, I'm not gonna like go into too much into it because I'm still learning. But like when we eat dead stuff, clearly that's not gonna raise our vibration because it's dead. So the animals and seafood, although I love seafood, it's not going to raise my vibration. But fresh fruits and greens and things like that, like those raise your vibration. So you can look more into that if you're interested. I'm still learning about that kind of stuff. I'm trying to change my diet. Trying. I can get into a whole other story about this morning and it being teacher appreciation and how I just went off. I just went off and I shouldn't have. But I'm back to my regular scheduled program, so to speak. So gratitude, meditation, eating high vibration foods. And there is a chart out there in the world that you can look at that'll help you to understand like what foods really help your mood. And another thing is essential oils. I love essential oils. Before I pressed record, I was smelling my essential oils in a diffuser. I know that smells enhance our mood. I make candles, right? I love, like, even now, it smells of mistletoe in here. I know it's a spring, but I just love this smell. So that's what I'm burning here right now. It smells so delicious. Smells help your mood, they boost your mood. And I've also come to know that different essential oils have different vibrations. And the highest essential oil with, according to research, that helps with your vibration is blue spruce. And there's another essential oil that right underneath is rose. So the real therapeutic grade, I don't know if it's therapeutic grade actually, but like the rose, those two are really high. Frankincense is another one. Lavender is another one. The real deal, not the stuff that's I don't even know really how to tell if it's real or not. I just know that the grade I got was like, I got it years ago in 2020 and I still use it. The lavender, I got bergamot and I got orange, and it was like $100 for those three. So I do know there's a different grade. I don't know if you can, I would trust like Amazon to get it, but you can do your research and find out. But those different essential oils, when you use it in a diffuser, it helps to improve your mood. Also, decluttering your space. OMG. From January, I've been in, and this is like just showing you the proof of how putting in work really, um, really changes you, because I've been like consistently working on my vibe, working on my mental health, since September. And January, I would say not even January, December. It was December break. So December, I was just in a mood to get rid of everything. Like I've been throwing stuff out. It's so embarrassing to say this out loud, but I live by myself. And the way that I have all this stuff that from January I've been decluttering my life is ridiculous. Like, why am I hoarding all of these things that I don't need? I actually was paying $200 a month for storage. Well, I would say what was in storage was like my event planning stuff, because I used to do event planning events, stuff like that, but I'm officially giving it up. And so there's just things that I have that I don't need, and I've been getting rid of it. I feel like I've been to the Salvation Army in the last, where May, in the last 6 months, I would say, because December I did go probably like 5 times. And I've thrown out, I have pictures. I'm gonna show y'all pictures and pictures and pictures on my phone of me decluttering my life. And I still feel like I have a lot of stuff. But I was reading, and research shows like decluttering your space raises your vibration. Not only that, remember when I told you to like check in with yourself? If you're in a space where you want to declutter, like it's in you, like that feeling like I need to get rid of, you're in a good place. So I was just like, oh, I've been feeling like God has been telling me to push all this stuff out, like let go, like purge all of these things. And look, it's a good thing. I used to have a routine when I was super busy, working two jobs. In the morning time, I would give 10 to 15 minutes of me cleaning. Why? Because when I come home and my space is clean, my mood is so much better. If I come home after a long, stressful day, I don't want things in the sink for me to wash. Like, I want to shower and be able to start cooking. So that has been something that's a non-negotiable for me. Like, I need the house to be clean so when I walk in, I feel good. Like this afternoon, I walked in and I went into my bedroom. I'm like, this is not it. This is going to be the last day it's going to look like this, and I'm going to have to get it together. But it does, like, clearing your space, even if you want to work on things, like, you have to clear it. Like, sometimes at work, if my desk is a mess with kids' work and I don't have time to like sort through things, I'll find another space that's clean for me to focus and do the work. So yes, decluttering your space sets the mood. You can like do the candle lights, the candle candles to set the mood. You can burn some incense. You can use some essential oil in your diffuser. Setting the mood really helps to raise your vibration. Even music, like listening to different music sets the mood, increases your vibe. If you know when certain things happen, you're not in a good mood, some things you can have is your self care toolbox. And in your self care toolbox, you can have like a Spotify playlist of the different songs that get you excited. I found this new YouTube playlist and I don't remember what it is. I'll post it below. But for some reason, when I'm listening to their music, I'm focused. Like I sat for like 4 hours the other day and got stuff done. No interruptions. No interruptions. I'm just like I went from the bathroom and like to grab snacks, but I was really focused and I was unbothered. Like I wasn't exhausted, I wasn't annoyed. I was very productive and I was happy about that. Like my mood was chill, and I actually commented, I'm like, I didn't expect that. It just popped up on my feed. I pressed play and now like I've subscribed to them. So that's another thing that you can focus on to raise your vibe is listening to some dope music, setting the mood with your favorite things. Um, you can even take a bath in some essential oil. The bath products that I used to sell, but them like the essential oils are expensive unless you're buying it in bulk. But like using the bath stuff just to relax your body, relax your nerves, is really helpful for raising your vibration. I would say a skill that I developed during the pandemic was breath work. I've heard of it. I used it prior to the pandemic, but I mastered it pretty much during the pandemic. And this is why I don't watch the news anymore, because the anxiety I used to get, like of things that were beyond my control, was overwhelming. And so breath work, using different techniques, even I get I get anxious now, but it doesn't last. So my anxiety could last for days before. Now I'm just doing my techniques that I have in my self-care toolbox, and I relax and I find different things to relax, to raise my vibration so that I'm not in that space. But definitely practicing. I was practicing breath work because, don't judge me, please, what I'm sharing right now. And now, like, I look back at the stuff that I used to do, it's so embarrassing. But I used to practice breath work not only because I was anxious, but they were saying like COVID hits the lungs. And so you have to strengthen your lungs. So you got to practice breathing. So I used to do that. And now I've learned more techniques, and now it just comes naturally to me. And sometimes I look like a fool, but doing it especially when I'm in the classroom and the kids want to act up and I'm like stressed and I'm just like, all right, relax. Um, I don't look like a fool, but my vibe is on chill. So definitely breath work. It's part of meditation as well. But it definitely helps in different situations when you're practicing breath work, even when you don't need it, like nothing's happening, you're just practicing the technique. It's always good because when you actually need it, you're used to it. It comes naturally to you. One of my favorites also is the social media detox, the social media cleanse. I'm on social media like once a month. Like I'll come in a month heavy and then I'll be gone for another month. But I like social media. But you know what impacts us really is our environment can impact our vibration. And so sometimes I just like to stay away from things and just focus on other goals and things that I need to get done. I can literally sit on social media for 2.5 hours straight, scrolling, like watching TikToks, watching reels. Like I could do that every day, but realistically, that's not healthy. Like the things that we read is not always healthy for us. Um, I have a person that likes to send me stuff. And I'm not going to say who this person is because they're probably going to listen, but the negative stuff like in the news and stuff, I don't want to see that shit. This is why I don't watch the news. This is why I do a social media cleanse where I delete certain um, pages because I don't want to see certain things. Like I don't care to see it. It's not that I don't care about what's happening in the world, but if there's nothing I can do, like at all, like it's out of my control, it's beyond me, like what, I don't need to see it. I don't need to see it. I can hear about the story, but like for me to watch, social media don't have no filter. Like they just show the most. I've also been traumatized by that whole thing with what was his name? I think his name, I don't know why I'm drawing a blank, but his face is in my freaking head right now when I close my eyes. But the young kid, he was a teenager that was killed by some gang, viciously killed by a gang a couple of years ago. Like that's embedded in my brain. And so like when people try to show me crimes, and I don't want to see none of that shit. Like I don't want to see none of it, like at all. Like, no, thank you. I'm very sensitive to that stuff. I'm good. I need to protect my vibration. So yes, we talk about protect your energy. Yes, protect your emotional vibration. Avoid all of that. Take time away from social media so that you can woosah. Sometimes it's needed, right? But for two things that really, really, really impact our emotional vibration is definitely our environment. And along with our environment is our minds, our thoughts. Those are the two major things. If you can manage your environment the best you can, like sometimes like we live in spaces or we work in spaces where there's but so much we can do. The skills of practicing gratitude, of meditation, of doing the best to set things, set the mood or set the scene. Those are the things that are in our control that can help with our vibration. And when you're practicing these things enough, other things in your environment won't affect you as much. And that's my goal personally, is to be able to be in any situation and not be moved and be anchored, right? Be anchored, know that I'm safe, know that I'm protected, know that I'm straight so that I don't have to react, right? I can just observe. That is like a goal for me this year, is to be in that space. And also our minds. So being more mindful of our thoughts, how we're thinking. And one of the things that you can do is journal about it and keep track of the patterns that are happening, because your mind, if you're thinking negative, you're going to attract negative. And remember, I talked about the building and having different levels of emotions, and you want to get to the top floor. So if you're constantly replaying negative thoughts in your mind, you're constantly jumping to conclusions and doing all of these things, you may not know it unless you're paying attention to your thoughts. So being mindful of what you're thinking about. Like, I encourage you to just spend a day noting what you're thinking about. Where's your mind going? Even if you don't open your mouth to speak and say what's on your mind, what is actually on your mind? Write it down, keep track, keep notes. Like, are you looking at someone and thinking the best? Or are you looking at someone and seeing the worst in them? So if you can look at someone and see the good in them, then you're vibing on a higher level. That's another way to check in. If you're looking at somebody like ill, like, then maybe you're not. Maybe you need to do some work, right? Yes, I'm telling you, you need to do some work. But definitely keeping track of your thoughts through journaling is really a good one. I definitely journal a lot. And I'm just now learning to read through what I'm writing about, check in with myself regularly. I have gotten into the point of where I am very mindful and I do notice my thoughts and I do write down my thoughts and I'm able to combat those thoughts because I was like, for some time, I was in a place where my thoughts were negative a lot. And I didn't even realize it until I started to write it down and check in with myself. And once I started doing that, I was able to change it. Now, when things happen, because our brain loves habits, and like, this is why it takes so long for us to go to create a habit. It takes longer for us to break a habit than it is to create one. But our brain likes to go back into the old ways, right? Of that's our comfort zone. So we want to get out of having our comfort zone being that negative space in the basement where all the stress happens, but we want to make sure that we're in a space where we're at a higher level in that building or in our house, right? So the way to do that is to keep practicing these different things, practicing gratitude, practicing mindfulness, practicing meditation and breath work, raising your vibration, checking in with yourself regularly so that you see what needs to change and you're figuring out for yourself what you need to do to change it. And I definitely encourage journaling. I'm certified in journal writing to heal. It's definitely helpful to look at those things, those patterns, and find out the root of where those patterns actually come from. And in a couple of weeks, I'm starting a workshop for women, 6-week workshop, helping women to find the things that are having you stuck and working through those things, finding those habits that need to change, working with you to figure out what can replace those habits because you want to say, oh, I want to stop doing this. But if you stop doing this, what do you want to do instead? Right? So getting unstuck, getting clear, healing, transforming, and being able to set a plan for yourself where you feel like you have enough self-confidence and esteem to tackle those goals. So the workshop is Journal to Discover You, and I would love for you to join. It's only 6 weeks, and it's a group workshop. It's a group coaching session, and I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to it, but definitely I want to see you win. So make sure you check it. I'm going to add the link below. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me at getcandid@candidsoulco.com. Or you can DM me on Instagram, Get Candid Pod on Instagram. You can also visit our website if you know this is for you and you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. I always tell y'all that. Like being in the same rut and wanting to change but not knowing how to change. Like I can help you get through all that stuff and break through all that. So definitely there's one-to-one coaching, 2 sessions. One in the beginning of the workshop and one at the end of the 6 weeks. And they're limited spaces because I'm a person that likes to do the work effectively and I don't want to invite too many women in and then their needs are not met, or I can't focus on them enough to see things through. So it's very limited, small group that we're doing this cohort. And the last one was really, really good. And I made some tweaks to it. So I'm excited to show what we're doing. And I'm definitely teaching about skills and techniques to help you develop healthy habits, and not only to develop the habits, right, but to be able to sustain them. So I don't want you to be like, oh yeah, this is this, and like we come up with something, or we find like have an aha moment about your experience, but then it's just like after 6 months you're back to that same feeling of being stuck in the same cycle and not knowing how to move. So I love to see results. I love to see people win. Definitely check out my workshop, Journal to Discover You. So thank you all for tuning in. I hope I didn't leave anything out. Um, Let me know what you think. Email me, hit me up on Instagram, comment below. I'd really appreciate it. And don't forget to subscribe. See you next week. Take care.